Hi everybody, Lori here from Unique in the Creek. We are going to be doing the very basic sunflower kit that you have purchased. This kit is for beginners, so you can just get the feel of how easy the Unique in the Creek boards work. In your kit, you have got a styrofoam sunflower center. It's a little bit messy because it does have wood chips on it, but it looks fabulous on a finished sunflower. It looks very real. So we're going to be using this. 2 pipe cleaners. You got a package of 100 zip ties. You got a roll of yellow fabric mesh and a roll of green Deco mesh. You got little wire snips. These are for cutting off the ends of the zip ties. You also received a 10-inch board for measuring, 2 clothespins, and the Unique in the Creek large board. Okay, and this is what we're going to be using today. And what you will need is a very good sharp pair of scissors, okay, and plug in your hot glue gun. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the sunflower center ready, and then we will start putting our zip ties in and creating the sunflower. So let's get this together. So you're going to take this out of the package, snip off the tag. Okay, it's very lightweight piece of styrofoam. As you can see, it's kind of messy, but once the stuff falls off, that's going to fall off, it will. We're going to flip this upside down, and now you're going to take your 2 pieces of pipe cleaners and your hot glue. So what you're going to do is put a little line in the center of the styrofoam and put the pipe cleaner right over top. So you're laying vertical. All right, and now we're going to put another line like an X, and we're going to put the pipe cleaner this way. And just hold it for a few seconds. Do not touch the hot glue, because you will burn yourself, and hot glue burns really, really hurt. Okay, once this is set, we're just going to set this to the side. We want to make sure you can press down with your snips, so make sure you don't get yourself glued there. All right, so we're going to put this to the side now and let that set. And we're going to start creating our wreath. Okay, so the Unique in the Creek flower board, or large board, has 5 circumferences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see it numbered on your board. Okay, row 1, there's 8 outside holes, and there's single holes. We are going to be using row 1 last. That is going to be for our green pieces of leaves. So we are going to be starting on row 2. So there's row 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we're skipping row 1, and what we're going to do on row 2 is we're going to load the board. Now we're just going to load row 2, and what you do is you take your zip tie, and if you've never used a zip tie before, there is a flat side of the head, and this is the tail. You want the tail to go into the flat side of the head of the zip tie, and you'll hear this zipping sound, and it locks. You want to hear that sound to ensure that it is going to be locked. Okay, so you might want to practice. You do have quite a few extra. So again, okay, you want to hear that noise. So you're going to go down with the zip tie. I always go with rule of thumb is the zip tie is always facing the ceiling when I have it in my hand. So what I'm going to do is on row 2, doesn't matter which set of holes you start with, you're going to go down 1 hole, up the other, just like this, and we're going to close this, and just a couple zips till you hear that. Okay? We're going to do all these holes. Again, down, up, there's that flat side, the tail, there we go. Down, up, flat side, tail, zipping sound. Okay, you want to leave quite a bit of space. You know, the more space you leave for yourself, the better room you have to work with your mesh. So we're going to continue on doing row 2. Okay, so we're finished loading row 2. So I'm just going to put this aside, and I'm going to take my Deco mesh. This is a fabric Deco mesh. It's very full and pliable, and this technique we're going to do today really only works on poly burlap and fabric mesh. Unless you can get a wide foil Deco mesh, it will work on that as well. Okay, so you're going to take your board, your measuring board, and you're going to lay it across your mesh with the 10-inch width, okay? Just like that. You're going to flip this over, line up the edges, and take a clothespin, clip the two edges together, just like this, okay? And you're going to flip it again. Now I just moved these down a little bit so it holds up the whole thing. So we need 8 pieces. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3. So we need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's really important that you have sharp scissors. If you have dull scissors, it makes cutting the mesh a little more difficult and will cause a bit of fraying. Okay, so you're going to clip the whole thing just like that with your 8 pieces, and now you're going to cut your mesh off the roll. And all your pieces are going to be cut at 10 inches. So we're going to put this to the side because this is for row 2. And now what you want to do is just kind of flatten this out, and we're going to cut up the edge of this folded piece here. Okay, so start out and then turn it up and cut along the side. It's much easier to do it like that. There we go. And you can pull out your measuring tool now. Okay, I would move your clothespin over, and now we're going to cut down the side of this edge. And that gives us 8 pieces of 10-inch mesh quickly without using a cutting mat or a rotary cutter. Okay, so we have 8 pieces. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. So you want to make sure they're all individual. Okay, we're good. Okay, we can put that measuring thing to the side. Now, you're going to take one of your pieces, okay, and you're going to want it curl side down. All mesh has a natural curl to it from being rolled on the cardboard roll inside. So we're going to have it curled down, and we're going to turn it into a diamond shape, just like this. Now, to do this, it's much easier to have a smooth surface. So if you're working on a tablecloth, perhaps you might want to get your board and put that underneath so you have a smooth surface for scrunching. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to scrunch from this corner right up to this corner. So, and you're doing it from your pointer and your thumb and dragging all the way up to the other corner. And that's why I said it's a little bit easier when you have a flat surface. Okay, and now you're going to put a clothespin at the bottom of one petal and a clothespin at the bottom of the other petal. Just like that. And now what you're going to do is cut in the middle. And that gives you 2 petals. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our board take the clothespin off, and this end we're just going to put about 1/2 inch into the zip tie and pull this zip tie nice and tight. Okay, so you got a nice spade shaped petal, and you're going to cut the end of the zip tie off. It's good to have a little bucket or bowl to put your extra ends or your pieces that you cut off. I have one under my table. Okay, and now we're going to put the second piece in the next. Now if it's hard to pull, I sometimes use the wire cutters to help me pull it. And then if you don't squeeze it really hard, and it'll help you pull it, and then you can cut it. Okay, so there's one. Again, scrunching up from the corner to the other corner, clothespin it, and you can just guess around what the center is, and then you're going to cut right down the middle. Again, giving you two petals. Bring your board back over, pull it, pull it. It is much easier when you do use the help of this. You just can't squeeze really tight because you'll cut your zip tie off. We want to cut it right at the base of the zip tie. So we're going to do this, the same thing for all the way around. So you're using 8 pieces of mesh in half, which is 16 pieces. Okay, so we're finished row 2. We're going to work on to row 3. We are going to preload row 3, just like we did row 2. Down, up, and lock. Okay, there's 8 we're going to be doing on row 3. Okay, we've got row 3 preloaded, and we're going to just set that aside again. Take our mesh again, and we are going to cut 8 pieces of 10-inch again. So roll out your mesh. Now it's much easier to roll it out with the curl up. Put your board long ways because we want the piece of 10 by 10. Flip it over. There's 2 pieces right there. Put a clothespin just to hold it. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. We're going to tighten this up, pull it just a little bit so it's just a little bit snug on the measuring tool inside, and we're going to remove these clothespins and clothespin the whole bunch again so it's on both sides. We're going to cut it off the roll. Okay, and we're going to press down and cut the sides again. And once you got it started, you can flip it upwards, remove your tool, clip where the bunch at the end where you've already cut, and then again press, start it off. And cut up the edge again. Now it's really good practice to take your time on this and make sure your pieces are 10 inches, as your sunflower will turn out much better. We are on row 3. Row 3 is just a little bit different. It's the same concept, except we're not cutting it down the center like we did. So you're going to take your 10-inch piece, curve side down, turn it into a diamond, and again we're going to scrunch from the corner up to the diagonal corner, dragging with your thumb and your forefingers, just like this. And this time we're going to flip. Last time we put 2 clothespins and cut it. This time we're not cutting, we're going to flip it upwards. So when you flip it upwards like this, you'll have 2 pieces just like that. Now what I like to do is press them down just to make sure both petals are about the same size. Okay, once you've pressed it down and you think they're about the same size, what you're going to do is you're going to take all this bunch here, and this curved area that you just scrunched in the center is going to go into the zip tie. Again, about a 1/2 inch in, and I like to hold it and then move out my petals to make them a little fuller, just like that. And I'm going to, before I let go of this end, I'm going to zip tie it nice and tight, just like that. And we're going to cut that zip tie off. Okay, we're going to do all 8 just like that on row 3. So again, scrunch, from corner to corner. Flip your petals, and we're going to measure just by eye at seam size. And you're going to scrunch down at the bottom where you've curved it up. Take this part, fluff out your petals to make it look nice. Pull this nice and tight and cut off the zip tie. And we want to make sure our petals are nice as we're going. Okay, so we're going to do the rest of these 6 exactly the same. Okay, we're done row 3, and I'm just going to trim off any little strings. We will have to trim after we're completed, but the best way to trim is right on the door or wherever you're hanging it, and you'll be able to see the little phrase a little better. Some people like the phrase. It gives it more of a shabby chic rustic look, so it's totally up to you. Okay, so now we're on row 4. Okay, right here, and we're going to preload row 4 exactly the same as the other rows. So down and up. Our mesh again, and we are going to cut 8 pieces of 10-inch again. So roll out your mesh. Now it's much easier to roll it out with the curl up. Put your board long ways because we want the piece of 10 by 10. Flip it over. There's two pieces right there. Put a clothespin just to hold it. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, we're going to tighten this up, pull it just a little bit so it's just a little bit snug on the measuring tool inside, and we're going to remove these clothespins and clothespin the whole bunch again so it's on both sides. We're going to cut it off the roll. Okay, and we're going to press down and cut the sides again. And once you got it started, you can flip it upwards, remove your tool, clip the bunch at the end where you've already cut, and then again press, start it off, and cut up the edge again. Now it's really good practice to take your time on this and make sure your pieces are 10 inches, as your sunflower will turn out much better. You're going to take your 10-inch pieces that you cut and you're going to scrunch it up the middle. Trying to get each petal even. And you're going to take the end, and again, just like the previous row, you're going to zip tie it onto the board. Just like this, and fill in row 4. Okay, last row. Now we're on row 5, and what we're going to do is we're going to be doing, there is 4 sets of holes, but we are going to be doing 8 pieces. And what I mean by that is we're going to be using the normal hole, so down and up. Okay, and then we're also going to be using shared holes, so we're going to be using this hole to this hole. So we're going to be making a circle all the way around row 5. So that hole to that hole. Then again, using another shared hole, that hole to that hole. This hole to this hole. Okay, once you're done, flip it over to make sure you have a circle of zip ties going around. Okay, and if you're missing a spot, make sure you put a zip tie in that spot. So you should have a circle going around that way. Okay, so we're going to cut the rest of our mesh, again, in 10-inch piece. And we're going to need 8 of them. 1, 2. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, lift up your bunch again. Clothespin them and cut it off the roll. Just like that. Again, we're going to cut along the edge, up the side. Scissors. Sometimes your scissors might get stuck. There we go. All right. Take your piece out. Move your clothespin over. Just like that. And then we're going to cut the other edge. So we have 8 pieces. Okay, we're going to do it like row 3, where we had a whole piece. You're going to turn it in a diamond, scrunch from corner to corner. Now, once you get to more towards the center of your mesh roll, it's the petals like to curl under a lot. So you just have to kind of play with it and work with it. Okay, they're even. I'm going to take this, put it about half an inch in, as like before. Pull your zip tie tight and cut it off. Now you see no board up here and no zip ties. So we're going to do the next one beside that one. Okay, corner to corner. Turn it up. sure it's kind of even. There we go. Just if you just lay it down, you can see if it's even or not. Once you got it even, you're going to grab this whole thing, stick this whole thing right into the zip tie. Fold it out, make sure it's nice. Pull your zip tie, tighten, and snip off your tail. We're going to do that for all of them. Okay, your flower is done. You should have a little bit of mesh. If not, no worries, because depending how loosely you folded your mesh over on your measuring tool determines how much mesh you have left. So if you have any stragglers that you want to cut off, you can do that now or wait till it's hung up. But you want to make sure these petals are nicely going around our center, just like that. This is quite large. It's about 24 by 20 or 25 by 25 inches, and we still haven't put the green leaves on yet. So it works out to be a beautiful sized sunflower, perfect for your front door or even your garden gate, wherever you want to put it. Okay, so now you're going to take your center, which should be nice and dry now. Okay, and we're going to cross this over and give it a twist. Cross this one over, give it a little twist. So we got 4 pipe cleaners, like an octopus. And what we're going to do is we're going to just go down opposite holes, which what I mean by that is we're going to go down this hole, and it doesn't matter what holes you pick, this hole, as long as you go to the opposite hole with the other side of the pipe cleaner. So directly across here is this hole, and you'll be able to tell if you're in the right holes when you flip it over. They should be directly across from each other. Okay, give it a twist. Okay, and now we're going to do the other pipe cleaner exactly the same, directly across from each other. And pull all 4 of the pieces of pipe cleaner. So it's right in the center of your sunflower. Okay, once you have it on the center, you can flip it over and you can twist it here and give it a twist here. Okay, about 4 or 5 twists. Cut the end of your pipe cleaners off. Now make sure you have your hot glue gun still on, because we are going to put a little dab of glue on the ends of these pipe cleaners so it doesn't scratch your door. And then we're going to put a little bit of hot glue in behind this front on the center. Okay, so you have your, just like that. And there's your center. Now you want to pull these, make sure everything is pulled out before you add some hot glue to the bottom. Alright, you're looking nice. Okay, so now you're going to take your hot glue, and I just put my tip of my hot glue gun right underneath and pump in some hot glue. And this is just added stability, or making sure that it's going to not come off your sunflower. Okay, and just hold it down for a few minutes. Now while this is drying, you want to make sure all these are, again, all your petals are nice. You don't want to spend all this time and your petals look all folded and not looking pretty. Okay, so now we can flip this over, and you're just going to add a little bit of hot glue just to where this, you cut off the pipe cleaners, because the pipe cleaners are wire, and we just want to make sure that the wire is not poking through and it's not going to scratch your door. Okay, so we are done our sunflower part. We need to do the leaves now, the green leaves. Now once you stop touching the mesh will stop fraying. And fraying means the little strings that you have. And like I said before, some people like the little strings, as it does give it like a shabby chic kind of look. So that's totally up to you if you want to trim or just leave your petals. Okay, so on the back, while this is drying, you'll notice that we have these single holes, and then at the top, directly above the Unique and Creek logo, you have these 2 holes. On the front part, you can see that they're chamfered in or divoted in. These are our hanging holes, and we're just gonna make a hanger with it, and usually I just use a zip tie because I always have zip ties available. So what you're gonna do is go down one hole, up the other, just like you did on the front side. Here are a couple zips, and leave it open and cut the end off. And that gives you a hanger to hang your wreath on. Now you can use twine or ribbon or whatever else you want, but like I said, I always use the zip ties. They're waterproof, and I always have them handy. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side because we are going to, the mess it makes, we are going to make the green leaves, and then we're done. Kit, you got a full roll of green. You won't use all of it, so you do have some left for any other projects you need to use it on if you want. We need 8 pieces of this green at 10 inches. So we're going to cut it just like we did before with the yellow. Flip it over. Clothespin it together. Now, if you do have a cutting mat, it is easier to use a cutting mat, but you can't get as many pieces as fast. So this does come out as a good way to cut mesh. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Now this green is Deco mesh, and it's not fabric mesh. So this mesh would probably not work for this technique as it's too see-through, and you would have to double the petals. Now you could do the whole wreath in the Deco mesh if you didn't cut the pieces in half. Now we do have other styles of sunflower wreaths on our YouTube channel. This is the very basic, economical way to make a sunflower wreath because you only use 1 roll of mesh. Okay, so we have our green. You're going to get your clothespins, and we're going to do 2 leaves. Now, you can do one leaf in each of the 8 holes, or you can double up and add a couple leaves. So meaning you're going to take your square, turn it into a diamond, just like we did with the yellow, scrunch right up the center. Going to flip it like we did the whole pieces and put a clothespin together. I'm going to do another one all the way up the center, flip it, and clothespin it. Now if you want to put 2 pieces, so you could put 2 pieces here, skip 1, 2 pieces here, skip 1, 2 pieces here, skip 1, or you can just put a couple pieces on either side, or you can go all the way around the 8 holes. And that's what we're going to do right now. Now if you wanted to do 2 pieces, you would take 1 piece and take another piece and insert this one on top of this one, and then you got 4 petals. Okay, we're going to be doing single petals. And I'm going to do it from the back side so you guys can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your zip tie, and we're going to be going up this hole, and we're going to be using around the outside of the board for our zip tie. So you just want to loosely leave your zip tie just like that. And you don't want, we want the curl side, see how it's curling up? And these are all curling up. We want the curled up side to be facing the door, which means we want the good side facing the front of the wreath. So you're going to take your green piece, just go right on top of your board, just like so, and zip tie it right to the board. And we will be cutting this off. So I'll do a few upside down like I'm doing right now, and then I'll flip it over so you can see the other way to do it. Okay, we're going to go in the hole here again. Take your lead. The curl's going to be facing the back of the board. And when I flip, I'm going to flip it over after this one so you can see. Now you don't want any green on the back of the board. All this center needs to be tucked to the front of the board. Just like that. So when you put your wreath on the door, the leaves are going to be folded against the door, just like that. Okay, so scrunch up the middle, flip. Now I'm just going to do it without the clothespin. Just putting the leaf underneath the board so it's on the front of the board, just like that, and zip it up nice and tight with the zip tie facing the edge. Now if you have the zip tie facing the back, when you cut off the tail, you'll have a bit of a sharp piece there. So you don't want that sharp piece on the back of your board because it could potentially scratch your board or scratch your door. Curl side down all the time. It's just much easier to scrunch. Flip it up. Once you got your bunch, flip it over. I'm putting the center, see how it's rounded there, underneath, and getting my zip tie. Now you can fix your leaves before you tighten it, and once you got it where you want it, zip it tight and clip off. So this just frames your sunflower. It gives it a nice green frame around the outside. The only reason I don't do these first is because the sunflower gets so big that by the time you're done to the center, your green leaves would be all tattered from hitting with your arms. So I just like to do it upside down and do it last. And like I said before, you don't have to go all the way around if you don't want. Or if you like extra leaves, you can add extra by doubling up your green leaves. And if you go around and you don't like it all the way around and you would like it, you know, only in every other one, all you have to do is snip off the zip tie and every other one. Last one. All right, voila, we are done. So we got all the outside ones done. Flip it over and we pull these out. As you can see, this wreath is pretty large. You can go around and trim. Again, it's nicer to trim when it's actually hanging up. And if you're getting near the center of the roll of mesh and it really curls a lot, what you can do is pull your leaves out nice and straight and get something heavy to put on them. So if you have a book or something, put your sunflower shade down on the floor and put something heavy on top all the way around your wreath, making sure that these are pulled, and it'll frame your wreath quite nicely. When you get up in the morning, it will be all full and the leaves won't be curling backwards. Okay, and then once you're done, you can then pull these up if you want more of a 3D effect and your sunflower not so flat. So you can puff these out a bit. And this will definitely fit between two doors. And fabric mesh is waterproof, and so is the Deco mesh. So this wreath will be perfectly fine on your door or your garden gate. All right, and voila, we're done. You can add for cute effects. You can put a little bee on your sunflower. You can put a little butterfly, dragonfly, whatever you want. Just hot glue it on, and you have a beautiful sunflower wreath. Nice clean back and easy to make. Thank you guys for watching, and please join me again for another DIY tutorial. Bye guys.